it's important for us to be specific about what type of AI is being used. Generally, for our purposes, from a search perspective, I like to think about two types: matching algorithms and generative AI. These are the ones that we talk about the most in patent search systems. Going to oversimplify here a bit, but I really do think it's important to make this distinction. Matching algorithms are simply taking your search query, turning it into a mathematical vector, and searching for the closest vectors in the data set. It's just matching. Each AI algorithm uses a different way to compute those vectors, and that's why different systems might give different results. Generative AI is the one everybody's talking about in the news. It's the ChatGPT. It's asking the AI to generate something for you. It's just like asking ChatGPT to write that email that you've been procrastinating about. Typically, we see this show up in patent search systems when we can ask for a summary of a document or ask specific questions about the document. With this in mind, we've found that AI has greatly impacted the way we gather results to review and the way that we can quickly understand those documents collected. So, how do you evaluate search tools? So the first thing to understand is you need to understand your workflow. Where do you want to use AI in your search process? What do you expect to achieve? And most importantly, are you going to need to change your workflow to see the benefits of AI? This is really important because AI is not a replacement for the other search techniques. It's just one more tool that you can use in that process. So as we think about testing, there's two different things we need to keep in mind. Evaluating AI is quite different than comparing two Boolean systems or traditional search systems because a keyword search should give you the same answers each time. The differences may just be how the results are ordered or ranked, or features of the system, how you review the results, where you save them, what you do. AI is quite different. When we were testing tools and then deciding to build Quartet ourselves, we like to consider both comparative testing and impact testing. We're probably almost familiar with the idea of comparative testing. It's the normal way to compare things. AI makes it a bit more difficult because we have what I like to call a two-brain problem. Think about two search professionals. You give each one of them a disclosure or a search assignment. Would you expect them to both come back with the exact same list of results in the exact same order? I don't think so. I wouldn't. I'd expect them to be similar, but each search history from each one of those analysts is going to be slightly different based on their interpretation of the disclosure and their experience. Since AI relies on an algorithm to determine the most important parts of your query and convert it to a vector, different AI will process that differently, just like the two search professionals. So that's really something to keep in mind when you're doing comparative testing and expecting to see the same list of results in the same order from each system. So that means you need to be careful with it, especially if you're benchmarking against a certain reference or a set of references and their placement in a result set. Instead, we've found that impact testing is a better way to understand how the AI is going to help us. We make a really important assumption with this statement. We're assuming that we're getting relevant results from the AI system. So that's a base fact. You're getting relevant results. The order might be different between different systems. What is the impact? How easy is it to incorporate into your search process? Do you need to use different search tools in order to create a full search? Can you build a single search history? So it's really important to look at your workflow and all the tools that you use. You have to consider if you need to change the workflow. That's what we did. We looked at our workflow and we looked at the different parts where AI could have an impact on us. and where it was actually having an impact. And then we adjusted our workflow over the years based on our experience. We wanted to make sure that we were using AI at the best times in the process. Now we just consider AI an important part of our process. It's a required step. We consider it the fourth pillar of a comprehensive search strategy. It's why we chose the name Quartet. All four of these search techniques work together. For the sake of clarity, what we mean by a keyword search is a traditional Boolean search. A bibliographic search is the front page data, like inventors, assignees, citations. Classification search is using the appropriate classification system. And AI search is using an AI tool to search for the concept. All of these work together to complement each other and build a comprehensive search strategy. Now, depending on the particulars of the search, you might not need all the techniques at all times. Each technique does have a purpose, and together they allow you to iterate your search for a comprehensive search. At this point, we've been using AI in our search process for almost 5 years. I won't lie, it really did take us a while to figure out how to use it effectively. And the reason is because it's not always perfect. It doesn't give you a perfect answer every time. As I mentioned before, it is not a replacement. It is just another tool. So we've tracked every single reference we've reported out in our search reports, and we know exactly where we found it and through which search technique we found that reference. We've also learned some of the ways it has made us more effective and productive. For instance, perhaps you start with a Google search to get the lay of the land with a new search project. We found that using an AI search of the patent literature is better for getting us an idea of the state of the art. It makes us more efficient with understanding relevant class codes, assignees, inventors. Also, when constructing search queries, we all know the importance of understanding the right synonyms and making sure your keyword search includes all possible permutations. We spend a lot of time building those Boolean search queries as expert searchers. But the AI system helps us too. Since it relies on the concept instead of the specific words, it helps us find similar concepts described in ways we didn't yet consider. It doesn't mean we wouldn't have figured out the other ways of describing it. It just saves us time in figuring out other ways to describe the same concept. And then it gives us a more comprehensive search since it isn't reliant on the specific keywords we've put into the Boolean search. At the end of the day, we've found that we're more effective because we are assembling our result sets faster, and we're also reviewing a larger number of results in the same time frame. So we have a more comprehensive search and we're more productive. So let's look at some quick examples with some numbers to just show you what we found. So from a patentability search perspective, we run structured patentability search programs for various firms and corporations. We know that a structured search program results in a reduction of patent filings since you're making decisions and weeding things out, but we didn't really realize the effect of AI on our productivity. Since these programs are typically budget conscious, any increase in productivity really does save money. We found two striking results through our analysis. In over half of the cases, we were able to reduce the search time significantly. This is because we reviewed the AI results first and were able to find highly relevant references in that first pass that allowed a decision to be made on the filing. This is one of the steps where we had to figure out where to use AI and when to use it. And we found that by using it at the beginning of the process, we were able to speed things up. The other interesting observation here is in slightly over 10%, it was 11% of the cases, we found highly relevant references that weren't found or encompassed by the traditional search strings. Now, I want to be clear here. It doesn't mean they never would have been found if we spent hours and hours doing one of these searches. But for a patentability search or a pre-filing search, you usually don't have a long amount of time to do that. You're trying to find the best references as quickly as you can to make a decision because your risk isn't that great. It's more the cost of filing something that might get rejected by the examiner. So that's pretty significant. 10% of the cases, you're able to find something that you probably wouldn't have found during a normal patentability search using the traditional techniques. That's a win in my book. Even better, though, over the years, our analysts went from resisting the use of AI, nobody likes change, to realizing how it made them more effective searchers. It gives them both a greater sense of confidence in the fact that they're doing a comprehensive search, especially when it's limited